For lesson 11.2, we are talking about being able to combine three-dimensional shapes. And once again, the first thing we started talking about was how we have real-world objects that are three-dimensional shapes, and we can combine them to make new shapes. Another thing we talked about in class was how which shapes you can combine to make a new shape, such as we couldn't have a cone on the bottom and then try to put a rectangular prism on top. That would be really difficult to stack that. So we talked about which kind of objects we can stack on top of each other or put next to each other. It doesn't have to be stacked to make a new shape. So that's what they're doing on the first couple of problems. They give them two shapes, such as number 1, a cube and rectangular prism, and they have to decide if you put those shapes together to make a new shape, which shape could you make? That would be the second one. Same thing on number 2 and 3. At the bottom, the problem solving, it gives them a real world object such as the bird feeder, and they have to decide which which shapes would you use to create that bird feeder. So that would be our cone for the top and then the cylinder for the main part of the birdhouse. On the back of the homework, the first problem says which shapes combine. If you were to combine a cylinder and a cone, you would be able to make the second shape. And the spiral review at the bottom, what is the sum of 40 plus 20? The students should be able to, by this time with their number sense, be able to start with 40, and they know they're adding two 10s, so they should say 40, 50, 60 to get their answer. And number 3 is a story problem. Emmy has 15 crayons. She gives some crayons to Joe. Now she has 9 crayons. How many crayons did Emmy give to Joe? Well, they should start out by knowing that Emmy has 15 crayons. That's our whole. The next part says she gives some crayons to Joe. Gives is our main word there that tells us it's a subtraction, but we don't know how many she gives to Joe. But in the end, we know that she has 9 crayons left. We're trying to find how many she gives to Joe. So we need to decide 9 plus what, if we work backwards, makes 15. We know that 9 plus 6 would make 15.